Bang. Welcome back. I am Jon Najarian. We've got CJ and Monty and I to give you a little insight into what's going on with Pancake Swap, Polkadot, and any of the other weird named altcoins out there. This is the Daily Crypto Byte brought to you by Voyager, where you can get up to 9% interest on your deposited USDC. Also, they pay interest on most deposited cryptos, and they even give you a bonus if you buy their token, the VGX token. That's Voyager Digital. They're a regulated exchange out of Canada, soon to be uplisting in the United States, we hope. And great customer service, as well as zero commissions on 50 plus digital assets. And they'll even give you $25 in Bitcoin just for signing up if you type Rebel25 when you join. So we were just talking about HBAR, Hedera, because yesterday Monty made it his trade of the day. And that one went from about 20 and a half, I think, to almost 23. Those might not seem like big trades to some of you, but if that was a stock going from 20 and a half to 23, you'd say that's a nice move. And depending how many coins you had, it was a nice move in Hedera.
Yeah, and also, John, you need to take in consideration what the rest of the market is doing. And right now, there's just been very little opportunity to find any profit at all in this market. CJ, yesterday you were mentioning this sort of gut feeling you had. I forget if it was on this show or if it was on Trade the Chain, but you had this gut feeling that we're approaching a bottom. And I too have this strange gut feeling coming into this weekend. There's a lot of interesting technical factors coming into play. So I want to get your perspective right off the bat here. How are you feeling with Bitcoin coming into this weekend?
Well, gut feel is an interesting thing, right? And and I think every good trader knows how to counter trade themselves or counter trade their own gut feel and certain instincts. But with the weekend approaching, with the lack of bullish momentum and bullish news, I wouldn't be surprised here if we slid to, say, 36K. Typically, like what we do early on in the weekends, what's happened, very cyclically almost, is that there are dip buying opportunities very early on Sundays. And typically then that morning, kind of when Asia goes to work and starts Monday of their week, we've seen a lot of buy pressure come in actually on that type of event. So that's what I'll be looking for this weekend. I don't expect to get any type of bullish catalyst up until then. But we'll see. I don't know. The trend is just kind of weak. To your point, Monty, about bottoming, I do think we've probably hit a bottom around 31K, but doesn't mean we can't go a little bit lower in the short run.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, CJ. And I mean, you made a great point about being able to counter trade your own gut, but in this instance, I'm just so reluctant to enter a long trade because of the possibility of, a move down to 31K. One thing that a lot of people have been talking about is that death cross. That's, this cross right here between the 50 period and 200 period moving average. It's looking like it might happen, this weekend, could happen on Sunday. And we've talked about how, these moving averages are lagging indicators, but this still definitely has a profound psychological effect on the market. There are a lot of eyes on this indicator. And as a result, I do, anticipate a sell-off this weekend. So when I'm looking at, CJ, you mentioned this 36K level, it's been holding somewhat strong. It's acted as both support and resistance. But I think, the likelihood of retesting 31K is actually looking pretty strong this weekend. We just have such lackluster volume, and, there is a lot of fear in the market right now. And I think we need to find that true bottom. But to your point, CJ, what we've seen over the last couple of weeks, is that buy pressure come right back in on Monday morning. So if we do get a sell off to 31K, I'm going to be looking to either enter a long trade in Bitcoin. I'll be watching the UOA log for more Riot and Mara calls, because those, earlier this week, they really popped on Monday and Tuesday. So I'll be looking for similar opportunities, because when Bitcoin corrects, I feel like that's when some of the confidence will come back into this market and people will start buying it up. And that, confidence will translate into the crypto related equities as well.
It'll be very interesting, guys, to see I mean, I give some of the credit to the softness in the market, to factors we've already talked about, like the Ethereum options expiration next week. 25th, a week from today, those options expire, and they're 30% bigger open interest than they were back in March. And these are quarterly expirations, folks. Is that going to be a buying opportunity? I think so. And for that reason, I've been holding off and hoping that I get to buy it around 2,000 per ETH. Don't know if we'll get there. Don't know if we'll break that. You guys are the technical guys. I'm just looking at, opportunities that I've seen on the charts before where I say, I wish I would have pulled the trigger bigger at that level. But you also have Michael Burry, Dr. Michael Burry, from the Big Short fame. Markets Insider, Bloomberg, a bunch of different sources have cited his tweets. I don't believe he gave them an interview per se, but I believe they assembled a story around tweets that he's been making because he's back. In April, he basically deleted his Twitter profile, and now he's come back, and he's saying that he expects the mother of all crashes. That sounds fun, doesn't it? For meme stocks, rebel stocks, and also cryptos. I understand the crypto side more than I do the meme stocks, even though I like crypto. And the reason is what we've talked about here, for months and months, guys. The great thing about DeFi, decentralized finance, is that no government controls it. Not the SEC, not the CFTC, not the European versions of those, or even Asian versions of those. They can ban the customers in those countries from going there and trading on them, make it difficult for them, which is an impediment, I'll grant you. But as we all know, people use VPNs all over the world to get into things that are otherwise blocked within their country. Not so much in China, because, when they have death sentences and things like that, or work camps that they would send you to, maybe it's not worth it for you to speculate for that. But I think the real problem with crypto, Michael Burry nails it, is leverage. If Apple had 100-to-1 leverage that you could get, it would be a problem in Apple. Doesn't matter that Apple's $2 trillion. That's only twice as big as Bitcoin, really, for one stock. If it had 100-to-1 leverage, there would be a problem in Apple, because then when people speculate wildly by either selling puts, buying calls, shorting calls, whatever, shorting puts, you would see, massive swings like we see in decentralized currencies or, tokens. That's what I think the problem is, guys. I don't know how you solve it in a decentralized world, in a DeFi world, because there will always be a Deribit or BitMEX or somebody out there who's willing to give you that kind of leverage. I don't know that a significant amount of Americans have availed themselves of those. I think it's mainly a global phenomenon, not just American phenomenon, that are using those amounts of leverage, but that is concerning. And those articles that Michael Burry is cited in really express that, I think, pretty well.
Well, that's an interesting point you bring up, John. And if you don't mind, I would like to ask you about your opinion of the effect of the equity market, and how is that played into crypto? Because the past few days we've had down days, and the Nasdaq, Dow, S&P, as well as Bitcoin. What do you think about the relationship there, and what do you see in the short-term future?
As you guys and I talked about last year, when things go down hard, they generally go down hard together. There isn't really a safe haven. That includes bonds. Some people view bonds as a safe haven. I don't. Some people view gold as a safe haven. I don't. Long term, okay. But long term, on a long enough timeline, as Zero Hedge likes to say, we all die. So on the plus side, not to be negative, on the plus side, on a long enough timeline, when Josh Brown, my friend on CNBC, says, I'm hoping we go down so I can buy more. No, you never hope for that. If it goes down and you have fresh capital, you want to buy more. You don't hope that it goes down because you never know when it'll stop. People last March, February, March, they weren't hoping that it went down. Oh, gee, I hope I get a 40% discount on my Apple shares or on, Carnival Cruise Lines going to single digits and all that kind of stuff. And Apple and Ford at $5 or whatever. Do you really hope for that? If you do, you're nuts. In other words, you're willing to take that much pain to say, well, yeah, but over the next 10 years, that's why I want to be in that. So I think that that is a dumb way to view the markets. It's also a smart way if you wanted to say, yeah, but my customers have a 20-year time frame. I've never met a customer that did. Never. I have had customers that on big drawdowns will tell me, Doc, what do you think I should buy? I've had that, but I've never had somebody root for their account to go from 1 million to 700,000 and say, oh, 30%. Well, yeah, but look at what I can load the boat on now. I think that's stupid. And I think most customers, get scared out of the markets there. That's what the volumes tell you. That's what history tells you. And so, if that's why when we were talking on CNBC, guys, not too long ago, and Josh was citing, yeah, but the wealth effect, Doc, we're up 75% from last year. And I said, yes, from the low. If you liquidated everything and bought the low, you're up 75%. If you rode that 40% drawdown and then, saw the 70% return, that ain't a 70% from where we were. It was like 24% or something like that. And that's, I think, what people need to focus on is that you can get shaken out pretty hard. I'm not rooting for Ethereum to break 2000, but I'm saying I have in my mind that if it does, leading into next week's expiration, I'm going to be a buyer, CJ, down there because I like it. And I wish I would have done that on that last big drop when it got down to 1850 or whatever the low was.
Yeah, I'll be right there with you, John. I've been saying for a couple of weeks now, I've been stacking up the USDC to be ready to pull the trigger if ETH does hit that 2K level. I don't want it to happen, like you said, but I'm definitely still prepared for it. I want to go back to one thing you guys are talking about there, the relationship between the traditional equity market and the crypto markets. CJ and I have been, trading both for a long time now. And one thing that we noticed, through various market cycles is the fear that hits any market tends to spread very quickly and very far spread. So if the traditional equities are selling off, that will spread into crypto. But the greed is so much more localized. So if the S&P is rallying, it doesn't mean that Bitcoin's going to rally because it means that people can put their money in the S&P and get very nice returns. There's essentially no reason to spread that greed out. So that's just the relationship I've seen. It's one thing that, has kind of held up tried and true is when the S&P dumps, Bitcoin dumps. But when the S&P rallies, Bitcoin does not have to rally.
Well, at least we go back into a risk on type environment when, equities do rally. But it seems like only mere weeks ago where John was educating us on the TNX and, that rising yield was pushing all markets down, it seemed like. But with that being said, gentlemen, you want to go to the Doge of the day?
Yes.
Sure. Let's do it. I'm going to pile on to Monty's trade from yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, because I bought HBAR. I didn't take it off at 22.89 or whatever the high was, guys, but I bought it, saw it moving up. I still think in this range, 18 to 21. Monty cited yesterday that he thought if we broke 21, it could break to the upside. It started to yesterday, and then that Michael Burry article and other factors, like the market broadly selling off, played into it. So Yeah, I don't view it as, I view a lot more upside than downside at the level it's at. So HBAR is mine today.
Very nice. I am still riding that trade from yesterday as well, so I like to hear that, Doc. CJ, what have you got for us today, my friend?
Today I like T Fuel or Theta Fuel, and this one I sent Monty over two charts here. One is the 1 day chart. I think the daily is very bullish. We've been seeing a lot of bullish volume, and Theta has kind of been one of those few that Monty mentioned earlier that has actually had somewhat of an opportunity, despite the sideways to negative price action in the vast majority of overall markets. But the thing that I do want to kind of hesitate on is the 4-hour chart over on the right side. We just reached a TD sell 9 and we're experiencing our first bit of bearish price action. So I think if we go back to the moving average at around 53 cents, that's probably a good place where I'll think to load up and actually enter into this trade. But yeah, T Fuel is going to be mine today. Variety of technical reasons as well why I like that one. But yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I saw that as well on the Trade the Chain dashboard, and I almost picked it as mine. But I went a different route, CJ. I went with CELO, CELO. And I went with this for just technical factors strictly. And, John, you'll like this. The volume is up, almost 45% today. So that's a very encouraging sign. CJ always talks about how volume is one of our few leading metrics. So when I saw that, I perked up a bit. Also, you have that in confluence with the fact that we got this buy 9 just a few days ago, establishing this critical level here at 2.45. Also, AJ Monty would love this bullish engulfing candle right here. So for me, I think the likelihood of this running back and retesting this 200 period moving average is actually something that is pretty likely in the coming weeks, even with, bearish price action throughout the rest of the market. So I'll be entering a CELO trade right after this show with the goal of perhaps taking profit at, around $3.30 or just below this 200 period moving average. So it's my doge of the day today, strictly a technical play, and that is CELO.
CELO was my number 2. That I'm glad I didn't say it by mistake, but yeah, it's cool. I mean, it seems like we're looking at very similar things here, but
I like it. Well, and don't forget, guys, that we are a week away from that expiration. So if you are, if you're a bear, then I suppose you may want to put on some short positions in something like Ethereum as it's going into that expiration. On the other hand, if you're somebody who's getting ready to dip your toe in the water or to add to your stash, you might set a number in your head that now before we perhaps, again, none of us have that crystal ball that we know for sure we're going to 2000 in Ethereum. But if you want to accumulate at a better level, set that level in your head. If we get there, then without remorse, without thinking again, just buy it. That's what I do. I buy on dips when they get to my levels. And then, depending how fast it rallies, I'll take some profits. I'm looking to probably whatever I buy in Ethereum, guys, on this dip, I'll put half of it away forever. I'll take it off the net and I'll put it in cold storage. The other half, I'll keep it on Voyager and let it, basically trade it, because that's what I do.
Very nice. Well, Diamond Hands John will be holding that Ethereum for the long haul, at least 50% of it. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great weekend. We'll be on the cocktail hour later tonight. If you're joining us for that, we'll see you there. But if not, we'll be back on Monday. And yeah, same time. Look forward to seeing you guys then. Have a great weekend.
Thanks.